Good afternoon, folks. We're going to start a live stream here. I'm just checking that all the technical parts are working okay. So if anyone can hear me, please give me a notification that you can hear me okay. So while we're waiting for people, any folks can that can hear me at all, I'd really appreciate just letting me know. Just type in the message there below and uh, and just give me an idea there. So F. Huber says it's not Memorex. Okay, well, good. That means that I am live and ready to go. So, first of all, folks, for those of you who've joined me already, thank you so much. I know that Saturday can be a day where you might be wanting to do projects and essentially do honeydew lists. And so thank you so much for taking your valuable time and joining me here this afternoon. I haven't done a live for, oh, wow, quite a while. I think the last live I did, I had just uh, recovered from appendicitis. And so essentially wanted to let everyone know I was okay. So, wow, that seems like a long time ago, but no, that was only a few months ago. And it's just fantastic that I feel so great. Praise God in heaven for that. And it's great to be back doing stuff. So I'll wait for just a couple minutes and see that folks are coming in here, and that's fantastic. Um, I, we've got who we got here so far. Well, we'll see. We've got Shane Michael came by, and F. Huber came by. Garrett Gardner came by. Ken Maybe, Midwest Mama's Adventures from Illinois. Wow, cool. And wow, Morton is here all the way from Norway, as in Morton the Norwegian. So fantastic. Now we got Edward Matthews here. Selena is here. Selena, the singer? Oh, maybe not. But oh, she might sing. I'm sorry, Selena, you might sing well. Anyway, we've got CFWW from the East Coast, super duper. And then we got ET Off Grid Arizona. Thanks, ET, for joining me here, and appreciate you as always a lot. And we've got Lee's Living Out of the Norm. Wow, what a cool name! And hi, Lee. How are you and your folks? We got that guy from Arizona. That's I like that title. That's really neat. Shane Michaels here. Richard P's here. Barbara C is here and says, I'm looking great. Wow, that's great. I really appreciate it. Blemishes and all, she still says that. How cool. And we got Mike Gordon from Santa Barbara. Wow, cool. And we got Know How from Casablanca. Hmm. Wow. I can just I'm thinking of Humphrey Bogart at the time. We've got Lee's out of the norm, who's responded, says, doing great, thanks. And Peter Warblach, I got confused with a different time zone from California. Peter, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm on mountain time here. So what the cool thing about that is when California does the spring change and the fall change for the time zones, Arizona doesn't do that, which I like actually. So know how it says, hope you're doing great and doing super. And anyway, super to see folks come in here. Looks like 54 people are here already, and it's only 2 minutes after. Wow, that's really neat. Oh, oh, Chris is here. Oh, g'day, Chris. I hope you'll forgive me, mate, for all my awful Aussie accents I do. And he says, "Hi, Don. Sorry, I can't stay on here. I have to take my wife to work. Back soon." Yeah. Oh, that was awful. Anyway, Chris, you know how it is. It's fun doing an Aussie accent, even though I do an awful one. And just thanks for jumping in. And I know you're busy, and a time zone is crazy different between Australia and here. So thank you, mate. We got John Bargo from Milwaukee. Already, okay. And then Miss Chivo's Adventures is also here. Okay. Well, great. Glad you're here. Paul Rainey's here. He says he's glad to watch. Oh, Chris is at 6:30. Oh, mate, it's 6:30 in the morning. Oh, bloody awful. And so, yeah, now we're up to 62 people. And we've got Joseph Rogers from Salem, Missouri. Wow. Joseph, I'm kind of thinking Missouri is one of those places you can build just about anything you want and not have any issues, if I remember right. Not a lot of regulations, if I'm correct on that, which is really cool. Paul is from Austin, Texas, and Get to It. Oh, that's an inspiring name. Yeah, I have to think of that when I'm out there with a pickaxe and shovel. And then we got Beho Eider, and forgive me if I've really botched your names. Sometimes I'm not as good as I'd like to be. So hope you'll forgive me on that one. And Joseph Rogers says, "What in Denton County? What are codes?" Yeah, permits. Like most places say, no, you can't just build your own home and do your own wiring, and you have to have licensed people, and the county has to permit every step of the way, which isn't the case here. It's very loose permitting wise, which I've explained in some videos I've done. Uh, Daryl says, rainy Southern California. Wow, that's amazing that we get here all of our weather from Mexico because Mexico's close by, and people think, oh, the weather's awful in California means that it's awful where you are, Don, in Arizona. Not at all. We do our own thing. And we got Stephen J from Billings, Montana. Stephen, this past May, I was in Montana, Gardner, Montana, with a couple Australian friends, and we were looking at grizzly bears and all kinds of other stuff. So it's my first trip to Montana, by the way. Sabine says, greetings from Tucson, and like the progress on your property. Thank you, Sabine or Sabina. Forgive me if I'm botching that. Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. It's going slower than I'd like, which is always my problem. I just want to run ahead with things and make things fast, and you just can't. So Joseph says the codes are loose there. That's really good. And Darrell says, like your videos. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. Um, F. Huber says, I'm building my own place near Waco, and the only building code I had to worry about was septic. That's really cool and very reasonable. Once people have taken care of the septic part, I think there should be no reason why you can't go ahead and just do like the old days and build your own home. It's like, we're big boys and girls, and if we build something really stupid and it falls in on us or whatever, well, oh well, shouldn't have done that, huh? So um, Richard P says, have you gotten any rain lately? Gosh, Richard, unfortunately, this year was the year of monsoons, so to speak. The rain was really, really sporadic, so much so that all my plants are really hurting and trees don't look grand. And also that means I have to buy more water. So more on that in a bit, but um, I'm ready for more water any day. Um, Piet Rancher Stoffberg says, hi, Don. You looking good. Help. Yep. Doing great. And all your efforts are firing me up to get started with my own project. And thanks for sharing all your plans with us. You're so welcome, folks. And that's a huge reason I put out YouTube videos to show that, you might be a senior, but if God has blessed you with decent health, you can do a lot of things. And it's just a matter of making really smart choices so you can live affordably. And we got Chef David and Buster. Hi from Fountain Hills. Hi, folks. And that guy from Arizona, it didn't rain too much in Chervitz this year because we put up rain gutters. That's so funny. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I hear you. Kind of like buying an umbrella, and yeah, well, it's not going to rain so much. So, uh, and Richard said working is good medicine, no question. I always joke about that. I don't need Nautilus because I've got my pickaxe and shovel. Actually, I've been doing 2 days now in a row of pick and shovel work, and yeah, it's nice to have 2 days off. It's kind of like I'm my own boss through the week, and I do work Monday to Friday, and but Saturday and Sunday I try to take off. And let's see. Uh, Uh, Bejo says is from Florida. Okay, cool. And then RP Pope says, long live Arizona. Indeed. And Cochise County as well. So that's a really, really cool thing. So, folks, as more people join us here, I wanted to just kind of go into a little bit about what I'm doing. Most of you know from watching my videos, but I know when I watch other people's videos, I still have a lot of questions because you can only put so much in a video, and and then it's just the very thing that you're out there doing, working on projects, and especially building your own home. You're not able to show everything, so I assume there might be some questions, and so I'm hoping to answer those today. And oh, good night. We've got our longtime friend Desmond Marshall here. He's a character from Northern Ireland. And Des and I went camping together actually in June. So he came to visit. He was amazing. So everyone say hi to Desmond Marshall. He's one of my best friends, and I've known him for, oh goodness, maybe 30, almost 30 years, I think. Something like that. Yeah. So and uh, Clazy says it took a while before the chat aspect was available on my screen, but I'm here from Northwest Illinois, and it's good to hear your voice and know that you're back at it. Yep, no question, definitely back at it. So let's start and look at a few things that pertain to what I'm doing here. Most importantly, what do I see on my permit? It's not the final permit. I'm still working towards my final permit. So uh, essentially, um, what happened was I put in my septic, and then they measured the proposed home that I was going to have, the distance from all the other lines around me, other people's properties and the road, and made sure that there was no um, washes or creeks that I was going to disturb with my build. And once they did that, they issued me a beginner's permit, so to speak. And with mine, I'm the old opt out. Under the old opt out rules, they've changed that, by the way. You have to show progress within 6 months that you're here. And for me, it was 3 years. So recently, um, well, actually in June, my 3 years was up, and I had to show progress to the county. And I was really worried about what kind of progress I had to show. So I sent them photos of just those 16 by 16-inch square cement pads I built. And uh, then I showed them uh, that, and plus just the framework surrounding those pads, etc. And that seemed to make them happy. And so they extended my permit for another 6 months. Um, and so essentially, I have to show more major progress by December 17, coming up soon. So here's where this is really, really important for you folks to know, especially if you're thinking of moving off grid and the permitting process, etc. With the opt-out permit, meaning again, the opt-out meaning it's owner builder opt-out. That means that I am going to be building, and as you know, I am building my own home. And the county originally asked me, how big is that home going to be? And here's where it gets confusing, folks. You see me living in this little 10 by 20 cabin, and essentially it's not hardwired to anything. It's just, extension cords. There's no running water in here. There's no plumbing. It's a shed. So the county allows you a 200 square foot shed with no permits. It can't be your permanent residence. And so mine, little shed here, has never been uh, designed to be a permanent residence. It's so uh, on paper, what the county sees is a 1,200 square foot building. Okay. Now that might be a little confusing to folks because if you've been watching my videos, you might say, "Hey, Don, you're building a 16 by 40 building. If you multiply those together, I believe my math is awful. It comes out to about 640 square feet. So where does the 1,200 come in? Well, to allow more rainwater harvesting, I'm putting um, extra space onto this. So, for starters, there's going to be running the whole length of the building, all 40 feet, a porch that's 10 feet wide. So that's 10 by 40. There's 400 square feet right there. Okay. And that's not so much to sit out and enjoy the view, that is literally so that uh, I can establish rainwater harvesting and even more so than I've been doing with my little cabin. And so the other thing is important to know, which is good, the county will adjust the size of your building on paper to match what you're going to finally do. You just need to let them know, and they'll change it up. So what I'm going to do is, even though it says 1,200 square feet for my big house, I call it, I will adjust it so that it meets the description of all the porches on there, and I'm going to have a place for your my I'm going to have a place for my clothes washer and uh, the hot water heater, mini split, that type of thing. Um, I'm not sure what to call that except for a utility shed that's attached to the house. And it won't be very wide, it won't be very long. But once with the county, once you have a roof over any kind of porch like structure, they count it as square feet. Okay. So all that to say, I'll adjust it so that I'm not more than 1,200 square feet, and but that I have enough uh, roof space to harvest rainwater. Okay. So also, folks, here's what's really important to message. Pardon me. Also, folks, here's what's an important message to those who've asked. It's like, well, we don't get it. We thought you were going to be in the 200 square foot cabin, and I want to tell you that I had my big house, I call it, sketched out right down to the square inch practically, even before I bought this property when I was back in California. And why would I want such a large home? Some folks have said, and logically have said, well, look, it's just you, Don. What's with the big space? That's a big space. And essentially, uh, it's for this reason. Um, my income is pretty limited overall. I'm Social Security, YouTube earnings, and that type of thing. That's it, unless I go back to work. And and I found that YouTube, although it doesn't pay tons, and I put out a video showing how much I make, by the way, uh, it does help a lot. So I really don't want to go back to work. But what about this as a suggestion? I've long thought this might work. In this area, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of birders that come from all over the world and rent out Airbnbs so that they can go birding in this beautiful area. And we've got, like, goodness, 14 species of hummingbirds in Cochise County alone. I mean, plus other stuff from Mexico that's here. So my vision has always been to be a host and um, essentially, uh, as a host, have a lovely big space that's an Airbnb. So, for example, it'll have two bedrooms when it's finished. So let's say, you know, um, Morton comes over from Norway and comes over with a significant other and also with uh, some friends. Then they can be in the master bedroom and the smaller bedroom and basically take over all of my big house and have peace and quiet and enjoy the beauty of the area. My goal has always been to share the beauty of this area with others, but um, as much as I'd like to welcome tons of people, I can't just go, oh, come by anytime you want. At this stage, I never get anything done. But when everything is complete, I can open it up for Airbnb. People can come and bird. And here's what I'm thinking would be really fun, folks. And let me know in the comments if you like this idea. All the folks that have questions about living in Cochise and are like, you know what, I'm from Ohio. I don't know whether I want to move Cochise County. Well, check this out. Once the big house is done, it's Airbnb. You come. I'm blessed by the fact that it's an Airbnb. So just like any Airbnb, there's fees involved for you to stay, but you have nonstop ability to ask me any question you want, and I can tell you where to go in the county to learn whatever you want about the county, etc. So it's kind of like a consultant thing. You don't pay any consultant fee. I can hang out with you and answer questions for a good part of your stay, uh, and I get revenue from it. And I'm hoping it would be a win-win. Let me know what you guys think of that. I think it'd be fun. I love people. I just do. I live alone, but I'm very, very people oriented. And so you folks would be able to come and and book a time here. Oh, and by the way, uh, my friend Desmond Marshall, you see on here, little shout out to him. He's got this really cool Airbnb in Ballymena, Northern Ireland. Okay, and so Des is super great as a consultant for me. So anytime I have questions about Airbnbs, because some things, whether you're in Northern Ireland or whether in the US, people are people, and I get to learn about that. So another big shout out to Des, one of my best friends, just because of everything he shares with me. So really, really cool. Oh wow, Chris is back here. He was out there looking at the full moon. Wow, nice. I wonder. And by the way, I've noticed the moon in Australia looks a little different than in North America. Not sure what that's about. Different topic. Um, Also, folks, I wanted to tell you not to pressure you in any way. Some folks for support have said, hey, other channels have what's called super chat, where you click the super chat and things happen. And so I wanted to let you know down to the bottom of the chat section, you'll see if you run your mouse over it, something called super chat, and if you click on it, then that offers instant support. So again, don't feel obligated, but other people do it during the chat. And I've had people ask me, it's like, Don, are you like behind the game? You could do super chat. I'm like, what's super chat? So anyway, I've learned. And so anyway, um, so again, don't feel obligated, folks, but I want to tell you that because folks have literally asked me, where do you have super chat? Okay, enough of that. So let's get to some of your questions, folks. I hope that's explained why I'm doing a 16 by 40 building with porches. And I hope that makes sense. In short, for extra income and for friends and family to come, and we're not tripping over each other like we would be in this little cabin, and that type of thing. Oh wow, Tim Warner, one of my best friends from a zillion years ago, is here, and Tim says, "Did the package arrive yet?" Tim, I checked mail this morning, and no package has arrived. But sometimes it takes a little while to get to me, and I know it's coming all the way from Tennessee for you. But thank you for being here, Tim. I so appreciate you and your friendship. Thank you, man. Okay, here we go. Let's look at some questions I haven't addressed. Um, Carol Austin's from Edinburgh, Scotland. How cool is that? Already thumbs up. Yeah, please do thumbs up. That would be great. And let's see. Oh, here we go. Pete Rancher Stoffberg says, what are your property taxes like there, Don, over there? And Pete, it's really, really great, and a reason why I'm here. By the way, I've got to pay my property taxes. So right now, I'm only paying tax on my 4 acres because the cabin here is a shed. You don't pay taxes in Cochise County on a shed. It's a shed. You know, so my taxes for the year, I think, are around $364, something like that. So really, really minuscule. Now, when the big house is done and passes final inspection, my taxes are going to go up. But everything I've looked at around here, I can't give you an exact price because it depends on the building. But even big 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes here pay a fraction of the cost of most places. I mean, I looked at it because I'm familiar with California taxes, and I'm like, excuse me, that is all you pay in taxes for your big 3-bedroom, 2-bath home? So anyway, it's very reasonable. Okay, let's see. Steve Austin says, do you have a P.O. box so we can write? Steve, I have a physical address, so a rural box, and it's a little tough because for security reasons, because I'm online all the time, I never really feel comfortable with giving out my street address. So I hope you understand. Um, PO box, um, PO box is different. Now, if I've known you for a long, long, long time, like for example, Tim, I've known since 91. Yeah, you get my street address. But otherwise, it's a toughie. And I thought of doing a PO box, but essentially there's something like, I don't know, $30 a month, and $30 a month adds up. And it's just too much for my budget, honestly. Okay, here we go. That guy from Arizona just subscribed. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. It's always blows me away when people subscribe. Like recently, my last video, something like 100 people subscribed. I'm like, seriously, 100 people want to see an old dude working with a pick and shovel on his property? Guess so. Okay, here we go. Get to it says that's a really good idea. Hosting. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm super excited about it. I mean, I literally know what I'm going to be offering for breakfast. I'm that's how far I am in my vision. I'm a visionary, and I enjoy hard work, but the visions are always way, way beyond where I'm at actually in the as far as my work timeline. So, um, okay, No House says basically put diapers on my trees so that it avoids loss of water. Okay, I'll have to look into that. I wonder if changing the diapers on trees is messy. Probably not. Oh, wow. That guy from Arizona says, we just found out we have a jaguar living just outside town. I heard that. Who told me this morning? Oh, some folks I just stopped to talk with this morning when I went to farmer's market. Yeah, we get so many cats here, folks, and I need not to just kind of get lost in that. But here are the cats that literally are, minutes from my property. Mountain lion. There's actually been one on my property. She made a lot of noise when she was here. She's gone now. Bobcat, I picked up on my camera. Ocelot, the South American cat, believe it or not, or Central American cat, they've been seen in the area. One called Jaguarundi, which is a really weird looking cat. Those, and then jaguar. So I think like 5 species of cats. So incredible. Okay, what we got here is we've got, oh wow, there's 125 people watching. How cool. Um, And again, hit the old thumbs up button on it. And then we got a question from Peter. Peter Warblock says, what will the increase in property tax with the additional 400 square foot porch? It won't be much, Peter. I don't know. I can't answer that question honestly, um, but it won't be much. We're talking adding that porch on. I wouldn't think it would be any more than less than $100, a year. So it shouldn't be much. Um, and then Get to It says, great question. Do you have a conventional septic or a non-conventional septic? Well, currently I use a compost toilet. Okay, um, and but in order to even do anything here legally in Cochise County, you have to have a septic in place. So I have installed a 1,000 gallon septic tank, and all of that was done by a septic installer. I moved on my property mid-May 2020, and I had lined up a septic installer, and he put that in, I think, the third week of June when he completed it. So I had lined him up though weeks before, and septic. I'm so glad I put that in. Septic install is practically double in price now. Absolutely crazy. So my septic tank is only about 50 feet from the big house. And here's a neat point. I mean, I don't have any engineering skills at all. I mean, I build great birdhouses, bird feeders, bookcases, but I call it the common sense old farmer mind set. Even though, yeah, I worked on farms a lot as a young person, but I've never been an actual farmer. So the old practical mindset would say, when you build a house, why not make all of your plumbing line up and then just go right over to the septic tank or wherever it's supposed to go? And I thought, great. So in the big house, it's going to have what's called a wet wall. So that 16 feet of the north wall is going to house the toilet, the bathroom sink, the kitchen sink, and there'll be a dishwasher and the shower. So that'll be all on one wall. So that should make the plumbing pretty easy. And so I'm looking forward to doing all the plumbing and being a plumber. That'll be fun. And I'm already putting together my sewer pipe. That's coming together well. And I'll do a video on that. So if anyone has never laid sewer pipe, then we'll show you. And of course, you'll get it from me, who's someone has never done anything like this before. So I'll explain it in a how-to fashion. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. It'll be fun. Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, Tim says, is this live now? Oh, goodness. Yes, Tim, I am totally live, brother. And so nice to see you here. Good old, from good old Memphis, Tennessee. Let's see, what do we got here? And Carol says, great idea. Many people love to escape to nature and learn about birds. Well, the other thing is I'm a bird guide. My company, Avian Discovery Tours, I did most of my tours were to Australia. And yeah, Chris, love Australia for birding. And 2019 was my last tour. I had 9 clients from all over the US, 2 were from Canada. And we had an amazing time, 16 days in Australia, and we saw a bunch of stuff. It was amazing. And tour guide and tour leading is challenging because you're trying to make sure everyone's happy and seeing good birds, and also making sure everyone's safe and feels cared for. But it's really rewarding. So I've done a couple local tours, and I'll be doing a lot more as well in the future. And then let's see what he got here. We got James says, I don't have a super chat button. Oh, that's odd. Hold on. Let's see. Sorry, folks. I may have forgotten to put it on. I'm really, really sorry. Um, and I don't know how to rectify it right now. And so uh, you're always welcome. Oh, oh, wow. Good night. Morton just hit a super chat button. Oh my goodness, Morton, thank you very, very much. Um, that is amazing. Wow, I didn't expect that. Um, so anyway, thank you, Morton. Morton, can you be kind enough to mention whether the super chat button was a problem? What it is, it looks like a little dollar bill down the bottom of your screen. It's between a happy face and a plus sign. Oh, okay. The button is on. Oh, good night. Okay. Guys, I so apologize. You want to know about birds? I'm your guy. IT stuff? Not so much. But anyway, obviously, I've had to learn, and I need to keep learning, obviously. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Martin. That is so, so kind. Um, what else we got here? James says a good website page to help you with marketing the Airbnb would be great. Also, run some ads on birding publication would be very helpful, I believe. Yeah, totally. Which reminds me, guys, if it's helpful, folks, would you mention that if it would be useful, and don't feel in any way obligated about this one. I like reality and just what's real, you know. Um, if you would realistically come to an Airbnb and book it, travel, come here, book it. If you just to learn about off grid in Cochise County, I'm thinking there might be a few folks that would be helpful for, especially if you were exploring off grid living or thinking of moving to Cochise. I know of had I had that opportunity to go to somebody's place that was off grid and ask some questions, I would have been on the plane immediately, but that was never available to me. So I'm curious if any of you would find that helpful. If you wouldn't, that's understandable. It may not be helpful for everyone, but I'm just curious. Um, and then Get to It says about the septic, and I think I answered that question. Oh, cool. Jennifer Wells says these chats, by the way, live chats go so fast. I'm like, goodness, I'm only going to be here an hour, but boy, I'll tell you, people are just so cool. They ask such great questions. Um, and Jennifer asks a great question. Do you have a delivery truck for water at first? If so, who would you recommend and how are their prices? Jennifer, that's a great question. And I do have a water company I use. It's called Kenny Kerfman, as in Kerfman Water Delivery. And Kenny is great. They bring a big old 1,600-gallon truck here. First thing I do is fill up my 400-gallon pond, and then fill up my 1,200-gallon water tank. And depending on monsoons, last year we had a lot of rain, so I think I only had two water deliveries. And by the way, each are $225. I think that's pretty reasonable. 16, oh, by the way, that's drinkable water. 1,600 gallons of clean, fresh, drinkable water for $225, I think is pretty good. This year, I've had two deliveries. I think I'm due for another one soon because unfortunately the water's getting low in my tank. And yeah, and we didn't get much rain. So hope that makes sense. Oh, and Tim clicked on the dollar sign and super chat opened up. Thanks, Tim. Good, it's working. I tried it. Maybe you can't do it if you're the guy doing the live. I clicked on it and nothing happened. So I'm like, what did I do wrong? So that's great. Roger Wakefield says, Oh, Tim, you got to go. Look, Tim, thank you very, very much for coming by. I absolutely loved having you here, bro. And I'll look for that thing in the mail. Thank you so much. Oh, and ET Off Grid says there's no super chat button if you're watching this on Roku TV. Good tip, ET. And I know from looking at the stats that a lot of people watch the my videos and lives on a big screen TV. So I don't know how all that works, but anyway, um, not the mama said just showing on the PC, but not sure on a phone. Okay, I need to learn more here. Okay, lots of folks commenting. Oh, okay, cool. Great question, Peter. Do you have anything hooked up to your septic system now? Can gray water go out to a tree? Um, Peter, which is really interesting about Cochise County, in order for me to even get permitted, I have to have two sources of gray water going out to trees or wherever in my big house. So I've already told them what I'm going to have. My shower and the bathroom sink are both going to run, the water is going to run right out into the yard. And I'm going to put it right so it runs into decorative trees, shrubs, plants, etc. So, yeah. Um, Great question by Lori Volk. Do you add anything to the water tank for algae? No, Lori. The tank I bought, they're really not cheap. I got them from a company called Oasis Water Harvesting, and Oasis is literally like a 15-minute drive from me, maybe it lasts 10 minutes. And anyway, their tanks are absolutely beautifully made, really not cheap, but they're light impervious. So they're called Enduraplast. And so my big old tank, um, no algae is ever going to get in it because of the way they're made. Wow, Cactus Cottage says I occasionally had a mountain lion that came down and sat on my fence. Okay, then. Well, I've got a lot of mule deer. That would give them nightmares for sure. James says it's not a bad price for drinking water, plus they're delivering it. Yeah, and they're really prompt. I call them, and the next day they're usually here. Jaybird says, uh, F. Huber says, before you open the Airbnb, you probably want to increase tank capacity. Right. And in all fairness, you didn't know this, but with that giant amount of water I'll get from the new house, I've calculated I should get around 8,000, 9,000 gallons a year. Okay. And essentially I will be getting, which I'm really going to have to work hard to make it budget wise, but I'm going to be getting two 2,500 gallon tanks to hold all the water I need. And so that way, if you're from, another country and you're like, we just love long showers or whatever, hopefully, you won't take too long showers, but we should be able to accommodate you. And there'll be a low flush toilet there, of course. Um, and so Texas Fred says, uh, do you get a lot of illegals going through your property? You should get a companion dog. They make great alarms. Texas Fred, that's a real controversial topic these days, but I'll be really honest. I live close enough to Mexico, like most folks here in Cochise County. It's a matter of time before you see illegals, but it's very, very different than Texas. Um, the footage I've seen about Texas, at least they show anyway, is just crowds and crowds and crowds of people can hardly wait to swarm over the border. Not the case here. You do get X amount, but if you're like most people that come through here, are looking for a better way of life, but they're also super cautious. All of the people in my neighborhood are armed. This is pioneer, this is rancher country, and everybody is armed. Okay. So that word gets out. But also, these folks are not dumb. The last thing you want to do, just making it across the border, is to hang around and bug a local. That would be stupid. You want to just get as far away from the border as you can, as quickly as you can. So, what that means is um, I don't see hardly any activity comparatively at all. Now, let's go address the dog thing. I really find that dogs, for me, don't work because um, it's kind of like having a child. And I've had pets before, and I just find I'm tied to them, and I don't like that. And as far as if I'm lonely, I just need to call up a friend or go visit more people, that type of thing. So that doesn't really work for me, to be honest. And I find, yeah, it just doesn't work for me. Yeah. Um, okay, what do we got else here going on? Rhonda White says, what animals or species are harmful to watch out for? Well, this summer I've had two rattlesnakes on my property. One pretty small, last year's hatchling, probably, and then a bigger one, a bigger one, and those with rattlesnakes. My rules are simple for here, to stay healthy. And life is never guaranteed. There's always dangers, no matter if you're in the city. The dangers are driving mostly. So here you have to be careful. So here's my rules. I never ever pick up anything on the ground where I can't see under it, or clearly. I mean, there couldn't be nothing under there. And I usually take my foot first, flip it, or a rake, flip it, that kind of thing. When I'm walking in my property lines in the long grass, always wear boots that a snake can't puncture, and also gaiters all the way up to the knees. And when I go to my shower shed to shower, or anything, or get tools, essentially I always watch where I'm going. Never grab anything where a rattlesnake could be underneath there. So those are uh, those are the main problems. Mountain lion, I'm not worried about them. I call them big kitties. They drift through my property. I've seen tracks. I've had them howling just down beyond my property. No problem there. I saw a black bear up in Car Canyon, but that was 30-minute, a 45-minute drive for me. So I feel very, very safe. And also, I'm a former wildlife biologist technician, and I love animals, and I'm just not bothered by them, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, what else we got here? Lori says, are you using Starlink now? No, Lori, I've got a video, and it's this wonderful scenario where AT&T has a tablet plan, and there's an amazing smart router called Mophie, and Mophie basically hones in. It's a router. It's a smart router, and it hones in on the near by AT&T tower. So I get super fast internet, faster than any place I've ever lived, including California. I'm betting it's faster than any Starlink internet as well. When I do a test on it, speedtest.net, the dial that shows you starts here and then goes over this way to show how fast your internet is. Mine starts here and goes way over like that. So it's absolutely fascinating. So look among my videos and you'll see it. It's called a Mophie 4500. These days, it's an older model. You can get them as little as $50 on eBay. AT&T charges me $25 a month for the tablet plan. Um, And Jennifer says, are you planning on doing a greenhouse or some sort later down the line? Oh, definitely. I'm hoping maybe even next year I can start growing my own lettuce, tomatoes, a few things. I don't have the time to get really invested in heavily, but just enough for salad or something. That'd be great. Chris says, did you ever make the bathroom at the shower shed? Chris, I didn't. It got all put on hold because I needed to shift gears and please the county with progress on the big house. And so all of my shower shed plans are on hold right now. We'll get to that. Carol says she has a pet parakeet. Carol, I love parakeets or budgies. I film them in the wild. I've had personally hundreds of them. I used to breed them. Texas says, do you have a septic set up? Fred, it's not hooked up. It's there. It's not hooked up yet. It cost only $5,000. Now they're doubled in price from what I can tell. So, and Jennifer, don't worry about all the questions. Again, check my video on super fast internet. Uh, Midnight Madness says, do you plan on doing the plumbing on a new cabin? Yes, indeed. Dawn the plumber at your service. Chris says he hasn't seen the shower set. Yeah, Chris, all it was is I started the base for it of the building, the footings and everything of it, and it's not complete. So I did a couple of videos showing me starting it, and I had to put it on hold. It will get done, just down the road a bit. Hawkins says, I'm coming out where you are. I'm going to buy land and build a house. Should be there in March. Um, and it's an amazing place, really. And what I wanted to also address, folks, I get this question a lot. It's like, Dawn, do you have any properties right near to you? And on and on and on. And I'm not aware of any uh, at the moment that would work like mine would. And but more than anything, um, what I would direct you towards is there's a Facebook site called Cochise County Opt Out, and even realtors post there all the time. So you need to, if you're interested in properties here in Cochise, then go to that site, and that should give you a lot of choices. So. Midnight Madness says, will you put a mini split in a new cabin? Yes, indeed. And I'm hoping to get one that I can actually assemble and put up myself. I might need some help with the wiring, but the other parts, if it can be done, if I can study it and do it, I'll do my best to do it. And mini split is definitely the way to go. And they're getting better and more efficient all the time, which is really, 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 really fantastic. So Carol is talking about her budgie and how cool it is and follows her everywhere. The thing about budgies, and I'm going to put my bird guy hat on for a minute. The thing about little budgies or parakeets, most people think, oh, it's just a chirping little bundle of feathers. No way. For speech imitation of the human voice, they have been noted at doing several hundred words and phrases. And also, if you look at them in a lab, as far as their brain size compared to body and everything else, very, very, very large brain for a little bird that size. So a lot going on with them. And then Bill Jennings says, hi, Dawn, love your videos. Peace and blessings. Roberta. Thank you, Roberta. Appreciate that a lot. F. Huber says there's a vacant 11-acre place for sale near me, but land is not cheap anymore. Honestly, since I moved here in 2020, I've noticed a flood of folks moving to Cochise County, and I've noticed the property values going up tremendously. So, so many folks are looking for an affordable living situation, and I certainly can relate to that. So, folks, just to let you know, kind of the progress of the big home. One of the questions I was asked is, do I have a timeline for having the big house done? And I don't. Although what would be really great is to have the shell done as in all the windows, the doors, and the siding, um, and the roof on, and right around Christmas or New Year's, be prepared to put spray foam all throughout the building. That would be really great. But, you know, everything just takes longer than I anticipated. So I'm not going to take myself to task if that's not done. But as far as I'm concerned, the quicker it gets all done and as a building I can see, the better. And F. Huber says 3 months after he bought his property, a realtor offered 2 times what I paid. Wow, that's really fortunate. Temesgen Tesfaye says, hello, Don. Temesgen, I apologize if I destroyed your name there or botched it, but big hellos. Cactus Cottage, do you have javelina near your area? You know, Cactus Cottage, that's interesting. When I first moved here, there was javelina all over the place, and my garbage got totally thrashed by javelina, and it just drove me nuts. And you can see that in one of my videos. It's a video where I talk about my septic, and at the end of the video, I'm chasing a javelina off the property. So, but I don't know what's happened. There was a lady across the road who used to feed them, and she's since moved, and I think that's what's gone on. Um, then because there's nowhere near the javelina around here. I don't see their tracks even, and I don't see them. So I don't get it. But I mean, they're a cool animal, but you know, I don't mind not having my garbage upended, even though I fenced it in and it was okay at the end of that experience. Midnight Madness says, when is the next video coming out? Don't hold me to it, but today is Saturday. I think we should have one pumped out on Monday or Tuesday. Chris says, your friend going to help you build the one that helped you with the foundations? Yeah, engineer Ed is going to come by and help. And we'll just, you know, I'm not sure about his schedule and all that type of thing, but that should work. As in, he should be able to come by and help. ET Off-Grid Arizona asks a great question. Are you going to put up any windmills for electricity? I hear it's windy in Cochise County. Yeah, it sure is, ET Off-Grid. I was thinking it'd be fun to actually do the live outside, and so people could kind of look around and see what it's like. And essentially, the wind here today is just crazy, and you know, everything is flapping and flying outside. And I think if I remember, I think my tent shed took a beating. I think it has another big slit in the canvas that I'm going to have to repair or do something with because the wind's flapping around like crazy. And uh, so with windmills, the reason I'm not going to do them is unless I'm way out to lunch on this, windmills have so many moving parts and would need uh, repairs, and essentially there could be no end to problems with that. And I'm like, no, you know, I can do mechanics if I have to, but I don't enjoy it. And so I'm like, no, thank you. And honestly, I don't need it. We live in Arizona, the best place in all of North America for solar. It's absolutely amazing here. My solar generator here is charged fully by about 9:30 in the morning. So why would I do wind? So Midnight Madness says, are you totally off grid with solar only? Yes. Solar is it. I have no electricity bills. It was so funny. There was a power outage in Bisbee, and wanted to do some shopping there, and everything was all black, and every store I went to was shut down. I'm like, I'm just going to go home, switch on YouTube and chill out and go home, which I did. Go home, I flipped on my lights, and the end of that. Texas Fred says, how far is the nearest store for food and supplies? Great question, Texas Fred. There's a Dollar General that I can get to within 15 minutes. And that can give me food and supplies. I'm uh, I can do a Home Depot Lowe's run. These days I shop at Lowe's for building supplies, and I can be there in approximately 30 minutes. Guy from Arizona says working on windmills can be dangerous. Wow, yeah, it sounds like it. I don't know anything about it. James Bass says, "Isn't there a new kind of windmill on the market now, supposed to produce twice as much power?" I think it could be. This day and age, we live in this kooky era that new things happen so quickly. For example, solar generators, as in, like I have one called the Titan, where the old fashioned lead acid batteries and you babysitting batteries. No, we don't do that anymore. It's got two lithium ion batteries, like in a Tesla. Well, not exactly like in a Tesla, but the same principle. They're stacked together. That's 4,000 watts of power. And then on top of that is the unit where you can plug extension cords in to your heart's content. There's 6 outlets, uh, that type of thing, and no issue. And Cheryl, I'm going to jump into this question because Cheryl Van Dyke has a great question. You don't find there's much maintenance for your solar? No, absolutely none, just none. It's all set up. It charges all automatically. It's lithium ion batteries. I don't have to do anything with them. Yeah, so no maintenance at all. So anyway, there's just new products coming out all the time, and so I would never ever not go solar here in Southeast Arizona. And let's see, we got time for a couple more questions. I wanted to be respectful and let people go within roughly an hour, and let people get on with their day. But I will answer a few remaining questions. So if you've got any questions that you're like, he didn't answer that, then just throw them in there and I'll see if I can do that. Okay. Uh, Jennifer Wells says, "Where did you get your solar panels from, and what type of battery bank do you have?" Thanks, Jennifer. I've got a video all about that, so you can see. Check through all my videos for the details, but I'll summarize it. So I'm answering your question. I got my solar panels from a company in Southern California called Tree Public. There are 8 of them, and they're 340 watts each. Okay. And so, as far as the battery bank, that's what's really cool, Jennifer. If you've got in your mind a battery bank here for me, I don't have one. I have 2. They look like briefcases, like little black briefcases. There's 2 of them, and they're lithium ion batteries. Okay. So, lithium ion means they're all enclosed. I don't do anything with them, they are what they are. And so I hope that makes sense. Carol says in Scotland, we have windmills on every high peak around 100 feet high. Right. I can see how that would be really beneficial in that area for sure. Um, and we've got Unky Joe's Playhouse. Greetings. Love your channel. Thank you so much. That's affirming. And Chris says, thanks, and it's great. You're going good there. Yeah, Chris, I'm just doing great here, mate. Just super blessed and super excited about all the stuff. Overwhelmed a lot because it's like, okay, now I got to learn about sewer lines. I don't know anything about sewer lines. Time to get down and research and learn about it before I do it. Uh, ET Off Grid Arizona says, I hope you do more live chats. I'll figure out how to do super chats by then. Well, thanks, ET Off Grid. Don't feel obligated, of course, but yeah, with your big screen TV you're telling me you're using, yeah, I'm sure there's a way to click a button for super chat with those things. I just don't know. But if I find out, uh, then then I'll let people know. Cheryl says, can you get 200 amp service with what you have? Um, so Cheryl, mine is 30 amp is what it is. It's a 30 amp uh, uh, outlet that it would work for either an RV or a cabin. Okay, and but depending with the big house, I'll wire that like a traditional house. And so essentially, as I grow with more finances and the ability to pay for more power, then I'll just add more power. But so far, even if I moved what I have now over to the big house, I'd be able to run most things there. But it's something I'm going to be growing with. So it's really cool. Midnight Mad says, "Do you have kids?" No, I do not. And D. Williams says, "Have you considered a modified evaporated cooler for the summers? They work well until the humidity gets about 50%. I lived in Arizona for 63 years." And that's Dave in Mesa. Dave, I know Mesa can get real hot for sure. Here, I'm at 4,200 feet elevation. So when you're cooking at 110 in Mesa, I might be 92. It's a very, very different climate here. And so I found with the cross ventilations of my windows, I'm fine. I've got a big tall tower fan I put on if it's 99 degrees inside the home, my cabin, which has happened. It's just not often. Uncle Joe says I use Victron solar gear and find it rock solid, and I DIY my batteries. They're only 24 volts. Peter Rancher says, Don, I never see you enjoy a beer or a glass of wine. I do, not often, mostly wine with friends. But for me, it's really sporadic. I'm kind of an odd guy that when I worked hard in wildlife research so I'm hiking, skiing, whatever, afterwards I'm really thirsty. And to this day, my biggest treat to drink is fruit juice, orange juice. I've got to have my orange juice. Just refreshes like you wouldn't believe. And I sometimes buy the Primo stuff that's just pure, not from concentrated orange juice, fresh squeeze. Oh, lovely. And so, yeah, so socially, yes, but not that often. Oops. Uh, I'm not supposed to say it's cooler in Cochise. Sorry. Midnight Madness says, what kind of siding and roof? So, Midnight Madness, I'm assuming you're talking about the big house, my new home. And so it's going to be the same as the little cabin here. I love it. It's going to be hardy board. And so basically, it's like this odd material that's kind of like a hybrid between plywood and concrete or cement. I'm not describing it well. Forgive me. I know people could describe it better. And it lasts and lasts and lasts. It's not cheap, but you don't have to, once you put it up, you don't have to do anything with it, paint it once in a while. And then the roof, because I'll do rainwater harvesting and I will probably, and I'll plan to drink that water after it's filtered appropriately, then I'll do a galvalume or a galvalume metal roof on that. Uh, F. Huber says YouTube can demonetize if they notice adult beverages. Okay, interesting. Well, no, you'll never see me. I'm too busy to be sipping a beverage while I'm doing my YouTube videos, to be honest. So, um, uh, Steve Austin says, what city in Cochise County do you live? I live near Sierra Vista. Johnny Ringo says, glad to see you're doing well. And do you plan on installing a swamp cooler? I don't, Johnny, because I'm going to do mini split. I think a mini split will be really, really great, and so little problems compared to a swamp cooler might be. And so mini split will also double as a heating source. Now you have to use that judiciously. So speaking of that, a little sneak preview into heating for the big house. I've already picked it out. I'll be doing a propane furnace, like one of those compact, only yay big propane furnaces for the big house. And then I'll supplement that heat with the mini split. Midnight Madness says, no underground deep concrete footings needed for the cabin. Great question. And you'll see more in the next few videos. But essentially, what it is uh, I have solid cement pylons, okay, that are down in the ground a ways, not very far though, and then cinder blocks on top, and then everything will be strapped down with metal strapping, uh, just like a mobile home would be in Florida or Texas or whatever, so that it will be solid as can be, even wind. And you'll see this develop more in future videos. And F. Huber says you can catch the condensate of a mini split to water plants. I like that idea. Yeah, all about extra water here, that's for sure. So, folks, I'll give us another, let's see, I'll give us another 7 minutes. And so 7 minutes to talk wildly and rapidly to answer any questions that you have. If I get a lot of them, if I don't get a lot of them, I can just chat normally. The SoCal Live says Hardy board is great. I used a diamond blade in my DeWalt saw. Using a razor knife works to score and snap also. I prefer the DeWalt saw though. Great tip. That's a great tip, SoCal Lives, because I'll be doing a lot of it coming up. And so that's a really good one. And big house, yeah, it is a funny term, but that just means that compared to my little cabin, it's called the big house. So thank you very much, folks, for coming by. And big shout out to everyone who took the time to like the video. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and hit the old thumb. Oh, there it is. There we are. The old thumbs up button. Kind of look like I'm hitchhiking there. And I really appreciate that. And I so appreciate everyone who comes by. And I just want to say, I've chatted among other folks who are off grid, and I realize that for whatever reason, I'm treated really specially here on YouTube, and I'm just so thankful for it. I mean, the gifts that I get sent and the encouragement and people praying for me when I was ill, it's just incredible. So thank you very much, each and every one. So until next time, folks, I hope you have enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you again for coming by, and we'll see you on a new video coming up this week. Take care.